They say transparency matters. They tell you to buy Canadian. They say they're cutting costs. But here's what they don't say. What you'll never see blasted across the mainstream media is this. And it certainly should be. Because when I read this, it struck a nerve. And maybe it will for you too. Because silence for us is no longer an option. We are on track for the highest number of foreign temporary worker permits ever issued. And according to our MP, Michelle Rempel-Garner, not only are Canadian companies becoming addicted to this cheap temporary labor, even our very own federal government is using that program to fill its own jobs. That's right. While they pledge to cut public service costs, they're quietly using foreign labor to fill the very roles funded by your tax dollars. Michelle said it best. Remember when they told us to buy Canadian? But they won't even hire Canadian. I want you to think about that while you're waking up every day, going to work, trying to get your son or daughter hired at an entry-level job. These government-paid, taxpayer-funded positions are being handed out through a loophole. And nobody thought to mention it to us. But I bet you've probably felt it. Because maybe your kid's been applying for months. Maybe you have been applying for months and still have nothing. Or you can walk into any government office or look up a posting and something feels off. And now you know why. This isn't a conspiracy. This is actually happening. And I'm not here as some policy expert. I'm certainly not part of the elite. I didn't even finish high school. I was a teen mom who started out in the stockroom. Just an ordinary grandma. That's what I am. An ordinary Canadian who thought her voice didn't matter. But not anymore. Because now I've realized something that is dangerous to the system. Us ordinary people, we're not ordinary at all. You're the ones holding this country together. And the second we realize that, the system crumbles. They will lose their power. And maybe you feel like, what can I do, Tammy? I'm just one person. But maybe there's a place you could get started. A place that's not big or loud, but real. Because change doesn't start with the crowds. It starts with one ordinary person who finally says, enough. So I want you to know this. Number one, you're not alone. And you're not crazy. If you've been watching the news and thinking, this doesn't feel right, it's because it isn't right. And you're not the only one who sees it. You've been told to sit down, shamed for asking any kind of question, dismissed for even speaking up. But more of us are waking up, and we can't close our eyes anymore. We're watching jobs funded by our tax dollars go to workers who weren't even born here, while our own youth can't even get a call back for a role. We're watching our traditions be stripped, our values mocked, and now our jobs being handed away. But here's the truth. The people at the top, they're not scared of protest. They're scared of awareness. They're scared of you. And number two, small actions matter. You don't have to march. You don't have to start a podcast or even write a column. I know what it's like to be exhausted, to be just trying to survive, to feel like no one's listening anyway. But the shift starts with a spark. Here's what I ask you. Read past the headlines. Don't stop at that bold text. That's the only thing they want you to see. Click into the article. Check another source. Ask who benefits from this and where is our money going. Ask what they left out, why they didn't tell you it, because most headlines aren't meant to inform you. They are meant to control you. Because just one small action, just one from you, starts the ripple. You'll read more. You'll speak up at work. You'll talk to your kids. You'll shift just one belief and then another. And that's how our movement starts and grows. Not with their noise, but with our truth. And number 3, the most important, being ordinary is your superpower. I was once that person believing the lie that I wasn't smart enough, not educated enough, that I didn't understand politics, and thinking that someone else would fix it. But let me tell you something. The people who look the part, the educated people who use all the fancy words, they know how to talk. But you watching this, you know how to get things done because you are the one who keeps the grocery store stocked. You keep the buildings standing. You keep the schools running. And now they're asking you to pay for your own replacement. I say enough, because you are not the problem. You, my friend, are the solution. And here's my final word. So here we are. Government jobs handed away like spare change. Citizens treated like obstacles. Truth buried under fancy words that say nothing. But if you're watching this, you already feel it. And here's what I want to leave you with. I used to think my voice didn't matter, that I wasn't smart enough to speak on these issues, that I should just stay in my lane. Well, not anymore, because now I know they use fear to silence us. They use shame to divide us. They use headlines to distract us. And they use smooth talking points instead of real answers to wear us down. But why? Why do they do this? Because they are afraid of us, not of our anger, but of our bravery, not of our protests, but of our unity, and not of chaos, but of the ordinary people waking up because they know they will lose their power. Ordinary people are the most powerful force on this planet. You've just been conditioned by the system to forget your power, because they know what happens when you finally remember. And I'm telling you, it's time to remember.